the behind the scenes of the Jacksons miniseries. I guarantee you, whoever owns the rights to this, it will be on some streaming site before the week is out, and it will be being promoted in somebody's banner, on some streaming site's banner. I guarantee, give it a week before you start seeing this back on streaming. So let's go here. Some behind the scenes facts. The idea for the miniseries was first conceptualized in '89 by Margaret Maldonado, Jermaine Jackson's then common-law wife, as a way to generate income for the Jackson brothers, whose financial future had become uncertain after Michael and Janet launched successful solo careers. She served as co-producer alongside Jermaine Jackson and Joyce Ellison. When the idea of turning their family story into a TV movie was first presented, Katherine Jackson reportedly laughed it off, believing no one would be interested. She later changed her mind after being persuaded of its value as a positive black family drama, a platform for black actors, and a meaningful family project. Her 1990 autobiography, My Family, the Jacksons, shaped the storyline. Executive producer Suzanne DePass and Stan Margulies. The project was sold to ABC for $10 million, with $1 million paid to the family for the rights to their story. EW reported this was possibly the highest fee ever paid by television for someone's life story at the time. Catherine received 2 shares of the payout, with the remainder split among Joe and the children. The family also participated in back-end profits from syndication, merchandising, home video, international sales, and a tie-in album. They made a killing, in other words. Rebe wanted to play the role of her mother, Catherine. Rebe is a beautiful woman and a wonderful singer. An actress, she is not. She was given the opportunity to audition by executive producers Suzanne DePass and Stan, and came in to read for the role. And then Angela Bassett came in, and it was like a tank rolling over a row of motorcycles. Angela Bassett ultimately eclipsed the competition and secured the part. Robbie had to settle for profit participation like the rest of the family. Filming began in April of '92, with much of the series shot in Pittsburgh, where they recreated the look of Gary, Indiana. Their production later moved to Los Angeles, where they filmed at Encino. The exterior of the Jackson family's Havenhurst home was used to help add authenticity, but no cameras were allowed inside. For the interior scenes, another nearby home was used. The only Jackson child who was cast was Jermaine Jr., who was to play his father, and that caused trouble. The rest of the family thought he was picked because Jermaine and I were producing. It wasn't true. His audition was excellent. To help him feel more comfortable with his performance, I even budgeted an acting coach for him, and he wound up doing a wonderful job. From Margaret Maldonado. Sources say Michael agreed to the project mainly to give his family the chance to cash in big one more time. Michael had approval of the writer, the script, the director, and all 3 actors who would play him at various ages, with one special request. He insisted someone beautiful play his mother. Michael's representatives were extremely protective about his portrayal. Janet and her attorney sought near equal input in the production, and their demands were met. Business negotiations with Michael and Janet's attorneys lasted 9 months, complicated by the fact that none of the Jacksons could easily reach Michael through his camp.
That's right.
Did you ever meet Michael Jackson?
Yeah, we were at NAACP Image Awards one year, and Catherine came down. He was with him, came down the aisle, and I was sitting there. I was like,
and at that point, had you already played Catherine?
I had played it already, yeah.
And
that
did
night.
either of them?
And so, wait a minute, he was first. He walked by, and she was coming up, and I said, "Hi, Miss Catherine." So she stopped to say hello, and he had, kept walking. And of course, his mom's not with him. He looks around to see who, and he says, "Oh, you were wonderful." And I was, of course I still remember this.
Yes, of course.
His hands were big. He did have really, really big hands, big, huge hands.
That's amazing.
And very pale at the time.
Yeah.
All I remember from that was when Catherine was listening on the other phone with Joe with his mistress, and she was like, "You a liar, and you a cheat, and I don't want you, I don't want you, I don't want you, I don't want you." That's all I remember, y'all. Let's continue. Here we go. Is this it?
I heard everything.
I knew it. I knew it. It rang twice, didn't hang up. I knew it was a signal. It was a signal so you could call her back. I heard her. She been in this house. In our bed.
Ooh.
Okay, listen a minute. Listen.
Stop playing with her.
want to go with the boys today.
Look, to somebody else's line.
You're a liar. And you're a cheat. And I don't want you. No, I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you no more.
God damn. Oh, yeah. Peak television, y'all. Hey, I remember my mama rooting for Catherine to whoop Joe's ass. Do you understand? I remember my mama was like, get him, kick his ass. My mama was yelling at the TV, kick his ass. Lord have mercy. Do you understand me right now? I watched Catherine reliving the moment as she watched the screen. She was biting the inside of her cheek as she always did when she was angry. And she had her fist up to her chest. I heard her say, get him, as Angela attacked Lawrence in much the same way Catherine must have lashed out at Joseph 20 years before. She was smiling as she left the screening room. Lord have mercy.
Michael Jackson, bro. God, little
God.
Mike.
God.
Sheesh.
No, real talk. It was like, I think, well over 20,000 kids in total that like auditioned for that role globally. So you were competing against kids in Thailand and France, and like everybody was trying to go for the role.
He was active in that.
Yeah, he had to choose the people that played him. So Michael personally chose me to play the role. And there were like 3 finalists that were left, and then Michael had to choose the last one of that 3. So no, I was blessed to work on it. It's definitely one of the highlights and one of the more defining moments in my career.
Did you get to spend some time with him on set? How did that go?
A little bit. It was like a brief encounter because he was actually doing the Dangerous tour at that time. So he was spending a lot of time over in Europe. There were a lot of people that would come through the set, like Tupac and Janet came through when they were filming Poetic Justice. Michael came through like in disguise one time. and I met him like one of the assistant directors. He might have been
around more than you know.
He could have been. He could have been.
How the hell you get to play?
Okay, let's continue. Michael was largely hands off during filming, but executive producer Stan noted in Entertainment Weekly that while shooting at the family home, he insisted on one detail for accuracy. He really wanted lions at the house. I said to his people, I don't know if we can get lions. They said he'd take care of that. And at 3:45 that Friday, a truck drives up with a full-grown lion in a cage and a young lion on a leash from Michael's ranch. When Michael wants lions, he sends them. Good Lord. Okay. Having their life stories shown on television was an unsettling event for the Jacksons as the various members of the family began to see dailies of the still unassembled miniseries. They would react with a plethora of wide-ranging emotions. Seeing the actors reenact segments of their lives brought back all the love, the pain, the anticipation, the heartache, and in several cases, the anguish as memories came flooding back. On Sunday, November 15, 1992, Jeezy Pete's, ABC was scheduled to present part 1 of the Jacksons' An American Dream, and if anyone else in the world had a miniseries made of their family life, there would have been balloons and limos everywhere and a fruit and cheese platter the size of Milwaukee. At the Jackson house, though, it was a slightly more intimate affair. Jackie made the trip to Havenhurst to join Catherine, Joseph, Jermaine, and me in front of the set. None of the remainder of the family made an appearance, nor did they call when the telecast was over. We watched the first 3 hours in relative silence until the show ended. The final 2 hours aired 3 nights later. On Wednesday, November 18th, it was a ratings smash and a critical success. If I were expecting applause or even a pat on the back, I got neither. Jackie said he liked it, but Jermaine, Catherine, and Joseph took the show in stride without comment.
Before I ever knew I was going to play Joe. Okay. You know, we had been friends, so that's just a wild coincidence. And when the time came around, Joe would not get together with me. He seemed like he was nervous and so forth. So I just read the script, and I started to get a sense of what was going on. And my father was not Joe, but he was similar. You know, he had that stern attitude. And, Larry, go up the garbage. I was like, all right. You know, it's like that all the time. So I understood that. A lot of what happens when you're trying to play a real person is you can't play the person verbatim, but you can play the essence of who they are and where they're coming from. I don't look anything like Joe, but I became that idea of what he looked like. I got that flavor from that. I went in instincts. And I tell you this, the first 3 days of filming, Angela Bassett was doing another movie, so she wasn't there. And I saw all those babies playing all of our kids, and them kids was not joking. I even told Angela, I said, we're going to have to wake up. because them kids is coming with it. So that was the essence for me, was to just try to go into the honesty of it and let it happen a little bit and just get along with everybody. I knew that.
Okay, so the only question that a lot of people are asking is, can Coleman Domingo's portrayal of Joe top Lawrence Hilton Jacobs? Because for a lot of us, Lawrence Hilton Jacob is like the quintessential Joe Jackson, right? So Joe Jackson was not involved in the production at all. Margaret wrote, I originally had thought he would be a constant interference in the production, insisting on putting his ideas into play, and he probably would have had it not been for LaToya. After she got done exposing his alleged abuse to the children, he was walking around with his tail between his legs. He took off for Las Vegas and stayed put.
A father that raised the family properly and kept them out of drugs and jails and everything else, you know.
I think from the American Dream that they put my father out like he was a bad guy. I just don't like the way they portrayed him a little bit in that American Dream story. He wasn't like that. And don't forget, like, he did beat our butts when we did something wrong, and that's what all parents did back in the day. But he wasn't like that. Yeah, he wanted us to make it. He bought us instruments. He rehearsed us. He saw the dream for us, and I'm glad he did that for us.
I always felt my parents, especially my father, raised his sons to be men at early age because he knew we have to be men for the rest of our life. People asked me, did you miss anything in your childhood? To be honest, I don't think so. I got to play a little baseball, a little this, play slide down the hills. It was fun, but playing this music when I was a kid was a whole lot more fun.
From 50,000 people is a lot of fun.
A lot more fun, and I'm still having fun with it today.
Okay, let's continue.
So I don't see it on BET or VH1. I've never seen it that way. I've seen it maybe like a copy with the time code on the corner, you know what I mean? But our family was proud of that. You know, our Uncle Jermaine obviously did his thing. I believe he was the executive producer. I know he was the driving force behind it. And it was something that we were all proud of. It told the story pretty doggone well versus someone outside the family doing it and putting their spin. Uncle Jermaine did his thing and really, I think, gave the family a nice, true reflection of what happened and the start of it. And I remember my Uncle Michael would always say he loved it and was proud of it. And
good movie. It's well done. The performances are great. And I'll watch Jackson interviews and I'm like, are they taking notes? Like the little stuff that like your Uncle Jackie or Marlon will say in interviews about like stacking the bricks. I'm like, they really got this down to a T.
For me,
So, when it premiered in November 92, the miniseries was watched by nearly 40 million households. It earned 4 Emmy nominations, with Michael Peters winning for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Choreography. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs and Angela Bassett also received widespread acclaim for their performances. Okay, that was nice. Once again, if you're disappointed in the movie, I would say go back and rewatch or watch the American Dream. It would probably fill in some holes for people, right? Because I'm noticing a lot of people, unfortunately, white folk are lazy when it comes to doing research when they want to be. Some odd reason, all these white folk have never seen or heard of it, the miniseries, and they're like, I wanted the movie to give me more, and it's like, you never watched the miniseries. But of course, okay, makes sense.